Hey guys, Christoph the Polish Geek once again, and I have my top 10 favorite Dark Souls 3 bosses. As promised, I do them, I did them. So just I gave you my top 10 Elden Ring bosses, those are top 10 favorite Dark Souls 3 bosses. And honestly, I think Dark Souls 3 bosses are incredible bosses and very comparable to my top 10 favorite Elden Ring bosses. That's right. Even after Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3 bosses hold up well. And some people argue they're even better than Elden Ring bosses. And I can see that actually. Don't know if I agree, but I can totally see that. Because Dark Souls 3 bosses are magnificent. And we're going to do the top 10 best ones. Top 10 my favorite ones. Though I had to leave some out, but there were some other awesome ones that said I had to leave out. Because Dark Souls 3 in general has very good quality bosses. So those are the top 10 definite favorite Dark Souls 3 bosses. And because it's a pretty long video, it's like with the Elden Ring bosses, it's split into two parts. So let's get to it! Number 10. And that boss I find very underrated. And I mean very underrated. And those are the Deacons of the Deep, as you see. Yes, they're ultra easy. So maybe that's why they're so unpopular, but I think they make up for it with everything else. Like, they're basically a mob boss, like the whole gang of Catholic priests all ganging up on you. And I think that's fairly unique and pretty cool actually. And I also love the organ music that's playing while you fight them. And they're also so creepy too. This is a very amazing fight, as I said. Yes, as I already said, it's certainly very easy, but as I said, I think the atmosphere and the uniqueness of it certainly makes up for it. And then, in the middle of the fight, as you see now, Archbishop Royce appears, and he's now the boss. And the deacons protect him while you have to attack him. He looks pretty cool too, like, because he's basically an archbishop. Number 9, and that's Demon Prince. Although you initially start the fight with lesser demons, Demon in Pain and Demon from Below. And I gotta be honest, the first fight, I find it wasn't quite done very well. Like, yes, they're a double boss, but unlike Ornstein and Smog from the very first Dark Souls game, I kind of feel like these guys are sadly more like Godskin Duo in Elden Ring, in that, instead of giving each of them a very unique set of moves, these guys both do the same moves and gang up on you, which makes the fight much harder. Yeah, it now seems like I'm actually complaining about the fight rather than praising it when it's supposedly their favorites, but you will see, it's still a pretty cool fight and these guys look really cool. And yes, this fight is mostly on this list because of the second phase of this fight. But the second phase is awesome. For now, we are watching the first phase, which, as I said, isn't actually fully bad, but I think some work could be done on it. There are ways in which it could be improved. But still, as I already said, the second phase that we are soon about to see more than makes up for it. I was lucky I was able to stagger this guy here. And now we are about to see the second phase. And now that's the fight that I think is actually awesome, and I love it so much. If the first phase was much better and perfected the problems it did, this fight would possibly even take a much higher spot. Well, maybe 2 spots above, maybe not necessarily much higher spot, but 2 spots at least, yeah. And this time we fight the Demon Prince, because personally, and very much like father, unlike son indeed, because the fight with Old Demon King, while not bad, it was kind of underwhelming by the standards of all the other Dark Souls 3 bosses. I mean, maybe not all the other, but most of the Dark Souls 3 bosses. But, so, like many people say, the fight with Demon Prince feels almost like basically like they try to make up for the mistakes they've done in the fight with the Demon King. Because Demon Prince, as I said, it's an awesome fight. I think he looks really fantastic. And even though he's smaller, I think he looks more intimidating and cooler than his father, Old Demon King, that we talked about. I also love his moveset that he gives you, and trying to dodge his attacks is actually pretty fun and not tiresome. And in general, hitting him also is also pretty fun. He's very weak to bleed, which I'm not going to lie, yes, I did use it here, actually. Well, let's enjoy the end of this fantastic fight. Oh, and I was lucky I was able to stagger him here, actually. Just like I was lucky I was able to stagger Demon in Pain before. Oh, and one more thing, the music in this fight is also pretty cool. Number 8, Dancer of the Boreal Valley. Yeah, she's wicked cool. I love the design of her, this basically ghostly cape that she has. And those fire swords, yeah, the appearance is simply fantastic, and the creepy slow way she moves around the room only adds to the atmosphere of the fight. And also kind of my history with her plays part of why I love it. When I first played this game, I remember she was the very boss I rage quit and almost stopped playing. And then on my second playthrough, I literally beat her on my very first try. And now on my next playthrough, on the second try, for some reason, first I had so much trouble with her, now she's actually one of the easier bosses, I must say, for me, which is pretty interesting actually. And yet, she is so much fun and so awesome to fight. And also the slow, very slow and calm music around the fight here also very much adds to the atmosphere of the fight. Plus, fun fact, she's actually an underling of a different boss who's higher on this list, but is fought after him actually, which adds to the coolness of the fight. And yes, I like the way those moves look, with the way she turns around and all. Let's see the end of this amazing fight.
Aldrich, saint of the deep.
Number 7, Aldrich, Devourer of the Gods. Yeah, he's another amazing boss. The lore around him is amazing, and what I love about is that in his lore, he's actually one of the few villains or bosses who isn't complex in any way. He's just plain evil, and I love that. I love that so much. And also, I love like how you have to go in the back of him and hit like something that looks like a tail, but it is actually his real form. Yeah, that part is wicked awesome too. I love his purple scarf and the way he moves around the room. And he isn't actually that easy. He can be pretty challenging. He's certainly not one of the hardest bosses, but he still can give a fair amount of challenge. And yes, this attack lots of people have problems with, but I personally find it pretty easy to avoid. Though this other one maybe not is a little harder, even though I avoided it here very easily. So Aldrich, and also I love the title, Aldrich, Devourer of Gods. And he is basically like a god too, which makes the fight with him even more awesome. Overall, Aldrich is certainly one of my favorite bosses in Elden Ring, and I love Aldrich. In fact, I was actually debating whether I should put him at number 6 and the other guy at number 7, but oh well, that's how it went. But trust me, him and my number 7 are very interchangeable. Another day, Aldrich could easily be number 6, and the other guy who's number 6 could be number 7, because trust me, Aldrich and the guy who's number 6 are very, very interchangeable. They are almost like a tie, because both are super, super amazing fights. Number 6. Though this guy could be number 7, while Aldrich could be number 6. But today, this guy's number 6, and that's Dark Eater Midir. And this is a giant dragon, and I love dragons. I love dragons in general. So, when you have a dragon battle, obviously I'm going to be in. Though, sometimes some games don't pull off dragon battles very well, but Dark Souls 3 did it amazingly well. At least with Dark Eater Midir, maybe not with Ancient Wyvern, but they certainly wonderfully done it with Dark Eater Midir. And first, he looks just amazing. Like, look, those purple crystals on him, incredible. Plus, he's also so big too, possibly the biggest boss in the whole video game. And he has a reputation as being the hardest boss, actually. And at first, yes, I had lots and lots of trouble with him at first, and I at first concurred, but actually, he's actually fairly balanced. He's actually one of the most balanced bosses ever, I say, because sure, he hits hard and he loses his life very slowly, but if you actually learn his moveset and learn how to dodge it, if you have patience, he actually becomes fairly balanced and totally possible to beat, which is very classic From Software style. So yes, I already said he looks amazing, maybe not quite as amazing as Dragonlord Placidius X from Elden Ring, but it's still a very amazing dragon design, one of the best ones in video games I've seen. Oh, And I also love the way he stands on his two legs. Yeah, that's really awesome. And that's the problem that many people fall into, and I actually fell into a lot. They attack his legs, but in order to truly hurt him, it's best to attack his head. Like here you see, that's what I'm doing, and it works very, very well. And also, you shouldn't get greedy. Something I often get, because yes, when I fight bosses, I get very greedy and try to get as many hits as possible. And to avoid this attack, it's actually not hard. You just have to roll to the left, which is because he generally throws fire into the right. Oh, and this is the best time to attack him actually. Overall, Dark Eater Midir is certainly one of the best battles in Dark Souls 3, and he is actually one of the very reasons their DLC Ring City is totally worth it, because honestly, like, he is such an awesome boss, and as I already said, he may be not quite as awesome as Dragonlord Placidius X in Elden Ring, but still one of the best dragon battles in video games history, and certainly one of the best battles in Dark Souls 3, because I love Dark Eater Midir. And another cool thing about him is, I just forgot, but now remembered, you actually encounter him a couple of times on your journey right before you reach him, and this actually adds very much to the awesomeness factor of this amazing battle, for me at least. Though admittedly, maybe we should see the rest of this battle now. It will take a little longer than others, because as you saw, he loses his life fairly slowly. So, yes, let's now see the end. I mean, the second half of this fight, because oh well, yeah, there is a second phase of course, but I think I said everything that needs to be said, so let's just enjoy me completing this fight. Okay guys, so this is the end of part 1. Part 2 comes soon.